Hey, what's going on, people? You got Mr. Greer.
Hola.
And old Brim himself for another episode of Truly Inconsequential. Episode number 23. Who's going to be taking Wendy to the White Castle? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to be doing at the White Castle, but they're going to be doing something.
Probably taking furious dumps.
Probably in the White Castle, especially. What do you call it? So for those of you who are just tuning in or tuning in later, basically just to give you an idea, we will be determining in real time who will remain inconsequential and who may be liberated back to the heroes category. Today, we're going to be arguing iconic fast food mascots, Ronald McDonald from McDonald's, as well as the Burger King from Burger King.
Like two of the most famous mascots in all of fast food.
Pretty much.
Who's more, well, yeah, probably. I think he's probably more, at this point, more famous than the Jack in the Box guy.
This is true.
Definitely more famous than Wendy, I would think. Even though Wendy's is in the name.
Wendy is arguable, I think.
Yeah, probably. Wendy's is actually like in the logo. None of these guys are even in the logo of their places.
Right. Well, that's why we're going to be talking about being consequential or not.
Yeah.
Well, look, they're not quite sure. We're not quite sure which one is creepier, but we're about to find out.
I think I know which one's creepier, and I already know which one's more consequential. It's probably not for the reasons you think it is.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm very curious. I'm very curious. So, what do you call it? I don't know. Which one do you want to get started with? We can jump right off the bat.
Yeah, we could just jump right off the bat. I also want to say, everybody that's watching, thank you so much. If you could please like, share the stream. You liking, sharing the stream gets more people's eyes on it. More people come join the conversation. And feel free, please, hop in the chat. We need your guys' input and help us out with these discussions and these debates. And also, if you guys have any suggestions for people for us to debate, those would absolutely help greatly. We'd love to hear other people's opinions. So feel free to hit us up on social media, drop them in the comments, let us know who else you'd like to see us debate, and we'll get right to it.
And also, just to add on to that, if you have sent us in characters to debate, the only reason why we haven't debated them is because we're not as familiar with the characters as we would like to be if we're getting them on, putting them on the show.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I could do some research. Research is always there. I could, so if you guys, like I said, anybody you guys want us to debate, we'll definitely take them into consideration. You just got to send them our way.
Yes.
What do you think? Ronald McDonald versus, I think we should just go with Ronald McDonald right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, and I have to say,
creepier. I mean, I don't know which way we're gonna go with these.
I think Ronald McDonald is totally inconsequential.
Completely 100% inconsequential.
Because here's why. You don't like Ronald McDonald. I was doing a little research before we got to the show today. Ronald McDonald came in because back in I think it was the 40s, 50s, 60s, Bozo the Clown was a big deal. Like clowns at one point in the world were like a big deal. People found them entertaining and not horrific. Like cause
like it.
Exactly.
He looks like it. I mean, or it looks like him.
I was gonna say it probably looks like him. I think he came first.
Chicken or the egg?
Yeah. So chicken or the egg. Or a giant spider.
Truly inconsequential.
Yeah. So. And I think nowadays nobody really likes clowns. I mean, clowns are. Does anybody really like a good clown?
I don't hate clowns. I think clowns are great and they're good for what they are. You know what I'm saying?
But what are they like? Can you name me the last time somebody actually hired a clown? What was it for hiring for birthday parties? Nobody does. Nobody does that anymore.
I don't think they do. Well, I mean,
all clowns are sad clowns now because they have no job.
This is true. They were huge. When you and look, I'm not into clown bashing, but you know what I mean. I think that they were huge in the days of the circus. When Ringling Brothers was out and they were out and about and doing their thing, clowns were a big deal.
Yeah, but then I think we hit a sect of the population. Like once we hit a specific age, like around my generation, maybe even a little bit before, clowns became terrifying. Everybody was afraid of clowns. I have very vivid memories.
Why?
Because they're creepy as hell. They look like demons with colored face paint, and they don't look happy. Like.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space is one of my favorite B movies ever.
Oh well, if you're afraid of those clowns, you just need help. Those are borderline Chuck E. Cheese animatronics.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
they're fun.
They are fun. So, and they also, what I found out is, clowns. Zeb says clowns are definitely creepy. Thank you, Zeb. McDonald's actually pulled Ronald from a lot of their advertising because if you remember, what was it, 3-4 years ago?
Okay.
When the people were showing up in clown masks, harassing people, they were showing up on streets as attacking cars and stuff.
Yeah.
McDonald's we should probably pull this clown thing back a little bit, because clowns are not that great right now. So no, I think they're totally inconsequential, especially since McDonald's doesn't need a mascot. It's already the king of fast food. It's got the best French fries. The food's good. They have millions of customers regularly. They don't need a clown mascot. Ronald McDonald's dated.
Yeah.
You don't need him anymore.
Well, but here's the thing. I mean, do you just drop it right off the bat? At this point, now again, I agree with you to a certain extent that he is inconsequential, but I do have to, obviously, if you're going inconsequential, I have to do a little bit of consequential just to play
Good
devil's
afternoon,
advocate.
Brian. Welcome to the show.
What up, Brian? How you doing? What do you call it? If you're not, if you didn't know what we're talking about, we're talking the Burger King versus Ronald McDonald. Which one is creepier?
Yeah. Well, which one's
consequential? So, essentially, look, Ronald McDonald was a big staple for McDonald's for a long time. Again, it's neither here nor there how he got there, but the fact is they made him into the mascot, and then they put a ton of marketing into him. So he had his own cartoons. He had, everything was, it was kind of like one of those. It's kind of like Scooby-Doo, for instance, where he had his little, they had the little kid boxes. What do they call it? Happy Meals.
Happy Meals.
And Ronald McDonald was on there, and then you had all the cool characters from all the different, cartoons and movies, and so it was all kind of like wrapped into that, and they made him very I guess important to a lot of people, and the problem is that, like what you said, where they kind of just dipped him out for a little bit and they started like pulling back on Ronald McDonald over the years. Not as many kids, like when we were kids, we used to know who Ronald McDonald was.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think the kids know who Ronald McDonald is. I think they know more so because of the Golden Arches. You know what I'm saying? And that's,
Yeah, and Brian says the king must be uncrowned, the clown stands tall. Jibber Jabber podcast says Stone Cold E.T. goes to White Castle. Okay, that's funny. No, but I think it's just one of those things where Ronald McDonald's dated. You don't, like, clowns aren't a source of entertainment. Nobody finds clowns funny anymore. Nobody gets really enjoyment out of clowns. You don't see them really in commercials, McDonald's commercials anymore. I feel like you don't see as many McDonald's commercials anymore, period. But you don't see them in commercials. The last time I saw Ronald McDonald was they just redid the McDonald's near my house, and there's just like a cardboard cutout of him standing at the end of the drive-through line. Like, that's it. Like, they don't really use him. Zeb says, I get that. McDonald's was trying to do a whole rhyming thing with Ronald McDonald. He would have been better off being a farmer. Like the song, he definitely is dating now. Yeah, well, that's the thing though. Back in the day when McDonald's was, like I think I've read back in the 50s and the 60s, clowns were a big deal. Like, clowns were a thing that people enjoyed and people found funny. So I think it was Bozo the Clown specifically. They modeled Ronald McDonald after that, and I even think brought that guy who played Bozo in and said, "Here, make us a clown to be our funny guy to sell burgers and stuff like that." So it's just something that's past its time. Like, do we crank cars anymore? No, because it's outdated and nobody has to do that anymore. Does McDonald's need Ronald McDonald to sell burgers? No, they don't, because he's dated, and clowns are creepy. Let's just be frank. Clowns are freaking creepy looking, and Ronald McDonald, sure, he's a smiling face. Freaking creepy smiling face.
Yes.
Looks just like he looks like its brother who decided to not scare children but sell hamburgers.
But okay, now let's
left the sewer and went into a restaurant.
Let's take it a step further though. So you've got Ronald McDonald. I mean, and you're saying that he's dated and so forth. And I can agree with you. I can agree with you. However, what about Grimace, the Hamburglar, all these characters that they had?
When was the last time you ever saw them use them?
That's the thing. I don't, and I don't know why they stopped using them.
Because they realized that they didn't care. That like, look,
it's brother.
You don't. Brian says, my childhood, Burger King was marketed by cartoon kids. Great food, cool stuff, kids only. I just never thought of a king when I thought Burger King. I do see Ronald still here in Texas. Okay, maybe it's a regional thing. I guess
Possible.
Maybe, but I think it was just like, I feel like at one point, even when I was a kid, like McDonald's, Burger King, all these fast food places were still places that you would take children to go play in these play places, hold birthdays and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe it's a regional thing. I don't see that anymore. So you brought those mascots out to appeal to little kids. Like, you don't have to do that anymore. The kids are just happy to get chicken nuggets and French fries, like, and a toy to come out of the Happy Meal. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's just having birthdays at McDonald's. They
are, though. They are.
Not as much,
I mean,
though.
listen, within the last few years, Haley, well, obviously pre-pandemic, Haley was, invited to, like, a ton of different McDonald's birthday parties. You know what I mean? Like, not all of them, but just, like, a couple of them were, like serious. And
Yeah,
they
but
were,
I mean, like, I
super
feel
stoked.
like a lot of them were just more excited for the food and really weren't ready for Ronald McDonald to be parading around. It's not like Chuck E. Cheese
Right.
back in the day, where Chucky's basically friggin' Mickey Mouse that sells pizza.
Right.
You
I mean,
know what I mean?
is Chucky even relevant anymore?
Well, Chuck E. Cheese is bankrupt, so probably
Yes,
not.
but still, we're talking, in terms of mascots in general. I mean, at least Chuck E. Cheese, it's in the name, but it was also like a whole shtick.
It was a shtick.
It was a shtick.
Ronald McDonald was literally just a product of the time. Had McDonald's came out now, like let's say McDonald's is a new fast food chain that just comes out now, Ronald McDonald's isn't even a blip on the radar.
Okay. I mean,
Because who's choosing now? If you're trying to appeal to kids, I want to use clowns. Like, who's using clowns? Nobody's using
clowns now. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Brian says, by the time you're 5, you upgrade to Chuck E. Cheese or CC's Pizza, or CC's or any pizza place. I agree. We don't have a CC's up here, I don't think.
Not yet. No, not in New York.
Not yet, but
New York.
because you can't get fake pizza in a place where you can get real pizza. No, except for Chucky's.
CC's actually is not all that bad.
I'm sure it's not all that bad, but it definitely is not a slice from Brooklyn.
No.
Zev says, I still think they would have been better off making him a farmer. Old McDonald. You know what? Maybe that would have been a thing. I mean, maybe it would have worked just as much. Or putt golf, arcades, bowling, LEDTC. I like all of those that you just mentioned, Brian, over going to McDonald's for a birthday party.
Well, what
you
if
get
McDonald's
pink eye in the freaking ball pit?
But here's the thing, like, so McDonald's was, they had all the big ball pits and all the crazy things until they were like one thing after the next with whether it's diseases in the ball pits or pink eyes, like you said, or people sitting and diddling themselves watching the kids in the playground. Like, you've got so many different things that have happened. Maybe that's why they kind of pulled him back a little bit.
But
and they
but
didn't
again,
use him as
I
much.
feel like they really didn't. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a couple of signs within McDonald's, but for the most part, Ronald McDonald is not as prevalent within the McDonald's brand as he once was.
Right. Okay.
He really isn't.
Fair enough. Now, if we're gonna flip,
He's not even in commercials anymore.
But now here it is. They still do with the Ronald McDonald House. They still have Ronald McDonald come out and see the kids and all that jazz. So he is still around. Matter of fact, there are official Ronald McDonalds. Ronald McDonald characters, like the
do they
people
still
that
really send him out to do stuff?
I have one of them in my phone. One of the actual guys. Yeah, I just did not recently, but a few years back, I did with the Ronald McDonald House and for the Ronald McDonald Fund, and one of the appearances, and the same guy that I always saw as Ronald was there, and that's
great. Yeah, I
he's an
know, but I mean,
official
like,
guy.
it's just because he's been a part of McDonald's for so long that they just still truck him out there. I don't necessarily think that means he's consequential to the McDonald's brand.
I don't think he's.
I think if they just axe Ronald McDonald, I don't think it's going to affect a single thing.
At this point, I think that if they did that 20 years ago, it would have destroyed the brand.
I don't even know if 20 years ago.
Maybe
Brian
15
Little says,
years ago.
agreed. If we had this conversation in the 80s or early 90s, Ronald would be dethroned. By the king. Yeah, maybe.
We haven't gotten to the king yet.
We haven't gotten to the king yet. I got an interesting take on that. Not really an interesting take. It's probably a funny take. But no, I just don't think Ronald McDonald. Again, I mean, do fast food really need mascots anyway? I guess is what we're gonna get to the end of this conversation.
Pretty much.
I don't think McDonald's needs Ronald. I think he's a dated character. And they just need their burgers, fries, and chicken. If they had a walking chicken nugget, it would be better than Ronald McDonald as a mascot.
But here's the thing:
Which they did have chicken nugget characters.
They did, but so here's the thing: if they don't need mascots, then who does need a mascot?
Nobody.
You know what I mean? But here's the thing: all the breakfast cereals, they're all mascots. You know what I mean? It's all the character that the kids buy into. Not just the food itself.
Yeah, but they don't. But McDonald's barely markets Ronald McDonald when they're branding their food. When they're like, sure, you have Ronald McDonald House going out and giving kids stuff for their charities, but when it comes to actual advertising, Ronald's non-existent. Go look at billboards when you're driving around the country. Ronald doesn't exist anymore, really. He's not in any of the commercials for the most part. The last time I think I saw Ronald McDonald on TV may have been the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and it was the balloon. Maybe, if he was there.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, he was at least a balloon.
Yeah, but wait.
That's huge.
That is huge, but it's like it's people preying on nostalgia and the fact that he's been a part of the parade for years. You know what I mean? Like people are creatures of habit. People they just feed on people's nostalgia. So if Ronald McDonald was a staple of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, they won't let him go. Zeb said he's dated and creepy for sure. They had a whole bunch of mascots from McDonald's at one point, and they're all gone now. He has to go. He's got to go too. I agree with you, Zeb. We don't need Ronald McDonald anymore. I used to have the tapes. Like I had the tapes of the cartoons back in the day.
They were fun.
They were fun, but
it was Klasky Supo, wasn't it? Who did it?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was like the Rugrats people.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Supo, yeah.
Maybe. Brian says, "Yup, their brand is the Golden Arches." Yes, I would agree. So, that is where we stand on that. That's a little bit Ronald McDonald. We probably should go over to the King for Burger King.
Here, with the introduction of the "I'm Loving It" campaign, McDonald's advertising began targeting adults more than children. While Ronald McDonald continued well past this time, this marked the end of the McDonaldland characters, who have only made occasional appearances since then. And that was in 2003.
2003, they stopped using them.
Yeah.
I thought it was later than that. Like, I remember seeing Grimace and all that stuff later, but 2003, they stopped using them.
Yeah.
I was old. I was like 8 when they stopped using them.
Yeah, well, and in here, to what you said, he's a clown, and people's opinions of clowns haven't improved over the years. As carnivals and circuses fell in popularity, clowns started to become more of a staple of the horror genre more than anything else, considering the ubiquity of villains like the Joker or its Pennywise as resemblance to Ronald McDonald. Children might be more likely to be afraid of clowns like Ronald than delighted by him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Zeb says Grimace was a better mascot. I kind of agree.
I love Grimace. Yeah.
I like the hamburger better too. So now the King, the Burger King.
Gobble gobble.
I think the Burger King is consequential because Burger King, Burger King needs a viral, creepy, weird-looking mascot for people to forget that their food sucks. They need somebody to be like, "Wow,
there goes that."
That's the freaky burger. That's the freaky Burger King. I want to go eat food there, but otherwise, this food stinks. I always attributed McDonald's was good burger. They had good food. The food was like I know the Big Macs are huge.
Right.
The Quarter Pounder is a big burger, but they had like average sized food. Burger King was always Mondo Burger. They had the gigantic burgers that didn't necessarily taste good, but they looked huge, and then crappy French fries.
Listen, the Whoppers are not bad. I like.
Yeah, but it's not as good as a McDonald's burger.
No.
It's not as good as McDonald's burger.
Yeah, no. Although the Burger King burgers are real and McDonald's burgers are not.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure they're real. I'm sure it's real. I'm sure it's real food.
I don't know if it's real.
Yeah, I'm sure it's real. I'm sure it's real. I've seen like just like Wendy's is pure unfrozen beef. I've seen the stuff that they throw on the Wendy's grill. Guess what? It doesn't look that appetizing.
Hold on a minute. The Wendy's we had on the IMDb boat.
That wasn't made on Wendy's. That was made in a back room on a yacht.
But at the end of the day, it was their patties.
It was their patties.
So I got to give them that credit.
Burger King, though, stinks. Burger King is literally the worst. It's all terrible, guys. That's what Zeb says. That's true. It's fast food. It's all crap. But of all the crap, Burger King's the worst. I've never gotten. I've actually gotten sick on a couple other ones. But I think Burger King. Like I know Chipotle is a fast food place that has problems getting people sick.
Okay.
Burger King is right up there with I think I've gone to Burger King a few times and gotten like food poisoning from them. So you know what that means? I'm gonna stop going to Burger King.
What's going on, Hendrick? Good day.
Hello,
are you?
Hendrick.
How are you? Hello,
Hope all is well.
Buffalo Airport. Hello, Mary. We missed you.
What's going on?
How's
your trip been? Because I think you were just on vacation, if I remember correctly. I saw some of your posts on social media. But so that's why I think they need the Burger King. They need the Burger King because they need that weird, creepy, viral face. That guy that's gonna walk out with Floyd Mayweather to the ring. I think it was Floyd Mayweather. It was either Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor. He walked with somebody to some combat sport ring.
Oh, Lord.
But he's a viral, creepy face that people remember to mask the fact that their food sucks.
He is, but every one of those new commercials with him in it, they're all freaking freaky and scary and creepy.
You remember them though, and they actually use him in branding now and advertising now.
But I also remember bum 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 bum. I'm loving it.
Yeah, well, they still use that. They
know?
don't use Ronald anymore.
Lisa just left me at the airport, headed home. Oh, welcome back, Zeb. Both of them have made me sick. I haven't had fast food in like 5 years.
Good for you.
He's very
Zeb.
gimmicky.
He is very gimmicky, but that's the point. He's the Burger King. He is the king of subpar burgers.
But of subpar burgers. He is the king of subpar burgers. I don't know, man. Here's the thing: is like, he was big, then he wasn't, then he was big again. He's been around in many iterations for many years. Burger King, and I never really understood why they needed him. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think it's because I was doing a little bit of reading. It was because they did it for the same reasons that McDonald's brought in Ronald. McDonald's brought in Ronald because they were trying to appeal to kids. They were trying to be entertaining and stuff like that. So Burger King they needed a mascot. They needed a guy to bring in and like dance for kids, basically. And that was the Burger King. Other than like the kids, because I know in like the 90s they had this group of kids that was the mascot for Burger King for a while. But then they nixed that and brought in the Burger King. I think I was also reading that allegedly the King went out in 2011. They stopped using them.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Early 2000s.
And then they brought him back. So Burger King obviously realized that they were missing out on him because he was just such a viral part of all of their marketing and all of their commercials. McDonald's, on the other hand, hasn't even used Ronald McDonald in a commercial in it seems like decades, and they haven't skipped a beat. Zeb says, I can understand having a King mascot for Burger King, but why is his face so excessively creepy? Because it burns the image in your brain, Zeb. If he was a happy King, you'd be like, yeah, that's cool and funny. That King, literally, he will haunt you in your dreams. You will see him when you close your eyes at night and always be thinking Burger King because of his freaky face.
But I don't want to be thinking about Burger King all that much.
Neither do I, because it sucks. But
you really hate Burger King that much.
It's not good. It's food that you eat when it's the only fast food in the area, when you're like out someplace.
Wow.
Like the only reason I ate Burger King was because it was literally walking distance from my parents' house when I lived at home.
Right.
And that was the only reason I would get Burger King. Or like it would be the only thing open in the area and I didn't want to drive another 20 minutes to McDonald's. Screw that.
Wow. So yeah, 2011, they stopped using the Burger King character, and then I guess they brought him back again.
They realized, oh wow, people are starting to see that we're terrible as a fast food franchise, so we need to bring the King back and make everybody forget.
Listen. Look, I get it. It's a gimmick. I can't. I can't get behind the King.
He's still being used, and Ronald for the most part isn't.
I understand, but at least Ronald McDonald was more. He was bigger than the brand at one point.
You were using a lot of past tense. Was at one point.
Yeah, but
nobody,
the Burger King
cares
is
anymore.
a joke. You know what I'm saying?
But he's still being used. Like he's still an active member of the Burger King marketing campaign and the Burger King.
In and out. To be fair, over the years, in and out. Ronald McDonald has just been out for the last X amount of years.
Ronald McDonald's been out. But Ronald McDonald's been out of McDonald's advertising for quite a while.
Almost 20 years. From what it looks like.
Quite a while. Zeb says, I remember the mascot cartoon kids in the 90s. They were fun, cool, skateboarding kids. Definitely better mascot than the King. That's not the argument. I kind of agree with that. I like those guys better than the King, but I think the King is more, at this point, more consequential than the clown. The Burger King is kind of like a creepy clown. Kind of like a creepy clown, but is not a creepy clown. You know who is? Ronald. So
I don't know. You know what? I have to, in my opinion. And again, I'm going with the past, not the present on this one specifically.
Gotta live in the now.
Because you do, and I appreciate where you're coming from. I'm with you on it to a certain extent. But the Burger King is more of a joke, and he's there because it's a gimmick. You know what I mean? Rather than Ronald McDonald, who was with McDonald's for the longest time, and if the Burger King disappeared tomorrow, nobody would remember the Burger King except for that creepy thing. You know what I mean? I don't think they'd remember it the way they would remember Ronald.
I think that they would remember it as much as they would remember Ronald because of how creepy he looks and how weird he looks and how he has been a staple in Burger King's advertising for the last, I'd say, over a decade. You know what I mean? Like they haven't. You said before that there's probably a lot of kids that can't even relate to Ronald because they've never seen him in the almost 20 years that they stopped using him as their mascot in advertising. You know what I mean? So people are going to remember the Burger King. Nowadays, people are going to remember the Burger King more than they're going to remember Ronald.
Mary says, I believe Sugar House Casino is using a King mascot, too.
I wonder if he's as creepy. And I wonder if Sugar House is not as good a casino as the other ones. I've never been to Sugar House. I have no idea.
I'm going to, listen, I guess let's ask the peeps, what do you call it? What do you guys think? Who's more consequential? what do you call it, Ronald McDonald, or what do you call it, the Burger King. So are you saying, so we said that Ronald McDonald at this point now is inconsequential?
Yeah.
And at this point, Burger King is...
I'm saying the king is consequential.
You're thinking that he's consequential.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah.
I can't disagree with it, but I can't agree with it.
Oh, he is creepy from the commercial. Oh, he's definitely... Oh, look, the argument is not whether or not he's creepy or not. He is definitely creepy looking, but that's the point. You know, I think he's supposed to...
Awful creepy.
He's supposed to be that creepy, weird character, like I said, that just gets burned into your brain.
So, I mean, if I agree with you and go with consequential now, I mean, for Burger King, simply because of the advertising, it's the only thing keeping Burger King going. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I can go and get behind that a little bit. But if you're going back and forth, Ronald versus the King, I gotta say Ronald has been more over the years, and you know, in the time space continuum. I've got to say Ronald McDonald is the most consequential.
Zeb says, despite his creepiness, the King is still popular. If I had to pick, I'd have to agree. King is more consequential, but Ronald McDonald is more iconic.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Mary says, I believe the King guy is consequential. Look, I understand. I understand that Ronald McDonald, and Ronald McDonald also has what, like 30 or 40 years on the King?
More. Well, yeah, no, in the 20s, I think they started.
Well, yeah, but Ronald didn't join with McDonald's
so
from
the 30s.
From the beginning, from it was like the 30s or 40s, might even been the 50s.
Okay.
But like the Ronald's got like 30 or 40 years of time on the King.
Burger King started early also.
But the King wasn't a mascot at that point. The King wasn't a mascot until like the 70s.
Is that what they said? Whatever you
Yeah, it was like the 70s or 80s. The King became a thing. And then and then I believe he got scrapped for the kids, and then came back. And
the Burger King was throughout the 70s. Mm-hmm.
It's okay. So if Ronald's, he's got like 30 years on him.
And the 60s.
Just 3 decades.
McDonald's had the 60s.
So like I'm saying, like he's got even more time on the King. So of course he's going to be a little bit more iconic. McDonald's was always a little bit more popular brand than Burger King, I would argue. And but they stopped,
which makes him. But that's why Ronald is he's an iconic character.
He's an iconic.
Most people will know who Ronald McDonald is over the King.
But I don't know about now though.
If right now people would see the King and be like, "Oh, that's that creepy guy from the commercial." I don't know if they would know. Like Burger King doesn't even have a name. It's the Burger King. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure he has a Burger King logo on him.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wears like a chain or something.
Ronald McDonald is just as iconic, but not as visible.
Yeah, like you're gonna remember Ronald McDonald, but it's like you're freaking at this point, kids, their grandparents are telling them about Ronald McDonald. The parents are telling them about Ronald McDonald. They don't see him because he's not a active member of their marketing anymore. You know, like. He's a thing of the sure he's iconic, but he's a thing of the past. He's outdated. We don't need him anymore.
Okay, so what do you guys think? Who wins, Ronald McDonald or the Burger King?
I think I win. I think Ronald is inconsequential.
I win. We just proved earlier that Ronald McDonald is inconsequential. They don't even use him anymore. Only a few McDonald's locations still have him sitting outside on the bench. No, I agree, but I mean, does the iconic position that he holds? Does that give him more clout?
No, because he doesn't. Because he's he's inconsequential because you don't need him anymore.
Hold on.
It's not about whether or not you're. It's not about whether you're an icon. It's whether or not you're consequential. If you yanked out, they've already yanked Ronald McDonald out. Like McDonald's said that he wasn't consequential because they plucked him out of their marketing campaign. And they missed a beat? No.
But with that type of attitude towards it, and again, this is a little bit skewed, not because I can argue both ways on this one, but if they took Mickey Mouse away from Disney, nobody would not make a Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse is way more important to Disney
World. But how many years after 50 years they finally made a Mickey Mouse ride? There was never a Mickey Mouse ride in Disney.
But
he was inconsequential.
But without Mickey Mouse, we don't get to where we are now. It all started with a mouse. Without Mickey Mouse, you don't have any of the cartoons.
That's why I said I can argue it a little bit. But think about it to a certain extent. Mickey didn't even have a ride for 50 years, and he's like the big character.
But he's been the main. He's had shows. He's been the main. I mean, we're not having.
But at
Mickey Mouse
but I'm saying, but at this point, because he was iconic, and yes, he did all that for the brand, just like Ronald McDonald did. But then after that, Mickey Mouse kind of took a very big back seat.
Nope, he did not. They had because they were still pumping out Mickey Mouse content regularly. Mickey still had Mickey still had cartoons. Mickey still had movies. Mickey still had Mickey has been in the face of everybody that is a part of Disney.
But it's also
for decades and decades and decades. Ronald McDonald was literally plucked from all of their marketing. Right. And it doesn't matter. I think the iconic thing has to. McDonald's did the job for us.
I think that they need to. I think the iconic, the stature of the character needs to hold some weight here.
If
you see what I'm saying?
No,
I think it should hold some weight.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is, McDonald's did it for us. They plucked their mascot out, and it hasn't hurt them since. If Disney straight up plucked Mickey Mouse out, never used him again, literally never used him again, his character didn't walk around, you couldn't do meet and greets, wasn't a part of shows, no more movies, no more cartoons, then I would maybe be able to see where you would correlate them. But Mickey Mouse never really did. Sure, he didn't have a ride in Disney World,
right?
But that doesn't mean he wasn't a mainstay in Disney World regularly. The dude was a part of, like I said, a part of shows, a part of rides. Still had cartoons, still had movies come out about him. He didn't take that much of a back seat. He didn't even need a ride. Mickey's Disney, Fill Our Magic. Mickey was still a part of that. I know it's.
Didn't they get rid of that?
Nope, still there.
It's still there.
Still there. They actually just updated it and added a Coco thing. But
Zeb said if both mascots were out at the same time and they stopped using both, then sure we could say Ronald McDonald. He would be more iconic, more consequential. But the king was there. Then he left. He's been back for a while and still going, and therefore more consequential. Listen, I'm trying to play.
We do have to go because we're running out of time.
I'm trying to play the devil's advocate here.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
understand.
I'm saying? And I think that as much as you might be right, you know what I mean. Maybe his time has been had. He's still iconic and people know who he is. And I figure we should give him a little bit more credit or a little more due.
I understand, but I'm just like I said, I'm not taking away from the fact that Ronald McDonald was an iconic character and a big and a big character. I just don't think he's consequential to McDonald's at this point. At this point,
no. I think that you're right. I think Burger King is the Burger King. As much as I can't stand the character and it's creepy as sin. What do you call it? I think you're right, and I think that the Burger King is more consequential than Mr. Ronald McDonald at this point. But then again, bring Grimace back and he wins all.
Yeah.
I think that's about it, guys.
Yes.
So what do you call it? Thank you for hanging out with us. What do you call it? Everybody who hung out, chilled in the chat, and joined in this little argument. What do you call it? We appreciate you. Again, please make sure you send us ideas. Let us know who you think we should be putting up against each other. Again, if for some reason we did not use your characters, it's simply because we don't know the characters well enough to talk about them. But thank you so much for tuning in. As Greer always says,
rate, review, subscribe. Please, 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 please share and like these streams just so more people could see them. If you're watching the replays, hop in the comments. Let us know what you think. Like I said, leave people for us to debate. Let us know who you think won the conversation, who's consequential and inconsequential. We love all of your opinions. So all the interaction's good interaction. It helps more people see us do what we're doing.
Absolutely. So, guys, we'll see you next week. Peace.